Let me paint you this scene. I am currently laying down in my parents' bedroom and I decided to record a podcast because my phone is dead and, well, it's about to die. It's low battery. And I had to charge it. And I also realized I was scrolling a lot through social media. My brain was just like, had a lot of thoughts in my head. And I just thought, man, wait, you have a podcast now. You can just pick up your microphone and let loose. So welcome back to Be the Vibes podcast. I'm your host, Lisbet. And this is a non-scripted, none of my videos are scripted, by the way, but this is a very random, I have no idea what we're going to talk about, and it's going to be a bit of everything, but that's what I wanted this podcast to be. And it was funny because when I was envisioning the podcast, I was saying to myself, I'm going to be in like really nice lighting and I'm going to record everything like with video and it's going to be so aesthetic and yada, yada, yada. And I'm not an aesthetic girly. I really want to be an aesthetic girly, but I'm an expensive aesthetic girly. I admire, like I was seeing this video last night of this creator. I have no idea how, because the video just popped up on my feed. And she would find these random antique or just random pieces at the thrift store and would make it into something else. I'm sure you guys have seen these videos across your feed. And I really wish I had that talent to be able to turn a random piece of furniture, a random something into something really cool. But that's just not my creative background is not in that. You know, I can think of creative ideas and creative ways to do something, or I've thought of so many amazing movies that I would love to like make, or music videos to certain songs and how I would envision and have them play out in my head and script them and all that stuff. But the other creative side, like fashion, aesthetics, like all of that, that's not me. I'm not that girl. And I'm okay with that. Or at least I'm okay with not being great at it and having to go to Pinterest for ideas or having to go to other outlets to find these creative resources, and seeing inspiration boards and following other people who are really good at that. But I'm not that aesthetic girl. And I wanted so hard for a long time in my life to be that aesthetic girl who puts the perfect outfit together and curates everything beautifully and yada, yada, yada. And I'm just not. And I'm okay with that. I think, for the most part, I want to be. But then I also realize, well, that's why stylists exist. You know, that's why there's people that are really good at their job. And if everyone was a really good stylist or really good at putting outfits together, or really good at being a home designer, there would be no jobs for that. There would be no job market, right? So fortunately, because I'm grateful we're not, a lot of us don't have that forte. So we have to go to other resources. I don't have stylist money at the moment. I want to. I don't, but I also want to learn. And the thing is that it's an art. Being good at these things is a talent, and it's one that you have to work on. And a person that I think of talent specifically is Ed Sheeran. I don't know if you guys have ever seen one of Ed Sheeran's interviews where he talks about how he says it himself. He's like, I was a horrible singer. Like, I did not know how to sing. And he like plays one of his super old recordings from his phone from when he was first starting. And if you would have told me that was Ed Sheeran, I would have not believed you, because I didn't think that was Ed Sheeran, because it just didn't sound like the Ed Sheeran that we know now. So I just found it really interesting, and it's something that I think about a lot in terms of there are people that are naturally born with amazing talent and can sing and dance and act and all this stuff. And then there's people that have to train for years or months or whatever to become really good at that specific job or thing that they're doing. So that's one thing I was thinking about, because I wanted my podcast to be aesthetic and what I'm seeing other people doing. And also I have to remember, like, the people that I'm following that have really nice aesthetics or podcast studios or whatnot, this is their full-time job. This is what they do. This is how they make money. This is how they've gotten known in the industry and yada, yada. I'm not. And I don't want to be like, I want to be me. Okay. And I want my people to find me for me being me. So, yeah, I'm currently laying in my parents' bedroom because I'm also having really bad anxiety and depression and panic attacks. And I haven't had panic attacks since I was in high school. And it's been a minute since I was in high school. And I haven't been in this pits of depression. I was actually talking to my sister about this the other day. Since probably 2021. And it's very difficult because I was talking to my mom yesterday when I got pretty depressed. And now this time around, it's a mixture of depression / extreme health anxiety, which is not a great combination. I don't recommend. It's a 0 out of 10. But mom's like, you have to make an effort to try and feel better and feel good and all this stuff. And it's really hard because I am trying, and people with depression do try. And it was comforting for her to also, after she said that, respond back to me with, but I know it's out of your control. And this is coming from a Latin mother that like does not fully understand the concept of depression and anxiety. Like, she knows what it is, but she's never really, I don't think, I mean, she probably maybe has experienced it and just doesn't know what it is, but I want to say fairly normal, right? So when she said that to me, it was very comforting because I am trying to be better, to think positive thoughts, to just be positive about different things. And it's very difficult. And then I was really frustrated with myself yesterday because I had a really good day the day before. The day before was great. I was like in a really good mood. I was happy. I was laughing, like all this stuff. And then I didn't understand why the day after I was feeling so down. And that's the thing with depression. There isn't this linear emotion and you just feel good and it's going to stay like that. Depression is very chaotic and very up and down, and that's difficult. And I'm not saying this to complain about depression or poor me. I'm talking about it because I want other people to understand and to know that they're not alone. And the thing with depression and anxiety is that most of the time you feel like you are alone, especially if you live in a pretty semi-normal family. I think we all have our things, right? But if a lot of or most of your family members don't struggle or deal with that depression or anxiety, it's very hard to relate to them and for them to relate to you. And then when you see them and how they're handling situations, and then how you're handling a similar situation and how you kind of go off the rails or whatnot, it's so disheartening and it makes you feel alone and scared. And it's not fun. So I talk about it because growing up, I didn't have a lot of people that were talking about it, a lot of people that I could relate to in terms of anxiety and depression and all of these struggles that I was dealing with. So I've accepted that I have anxiety and depression. So yes, I've accepted I have anxiety and depression, but no, I will not stop talking about it because it is a part of my life and it is something that I want to share with other people so that they don't feel alone and they don't feel disheartened, and you have someone that you can relate to, and someone that, while you might be seeing some of my vlogs and videos, and let's say most of the video is me being normal and happy and living life, that a big majority of some of those days that I don't talk about is maybe I was having extreme health anxiety about my foot or something random, right? Or maybe I was just crying right before I started recording that clip and I just didn't want to chat about it during that time. So life is not perfect, and social media truly is a highlight reel, and everyone is dealing with their own shit, and it's not easy and it's not rainbows and sunshines, and that's okay. You know, I have come to terms with that being okay and a part of life. So I kind of want to go into the next topic because this is random, but it's going to make sense. So Formula One is one of my favorite sports to watch. I've always been a Formula One fan. I've been a Lewis Hamilton fan and Mercedes fan since I want to say 2014, 2015 when I discovered Formula One because of Lewis Hamilton. But I really got into the sport like a year and a half ago. I always knew about the sport and I would keep up with it, but I wouldn't see all the races and all of like the live stuff and the Grand Prix. But about a year and a half ago, I was depressed and going through a lot and alone. I was living in Michigan and I didn't have anything to do on the weekends and I was just struggling a lot. So Formula One really became this place for me to be able to be myself and or just have something to look forward to. It became something that I liked. It gave me a purpose, right? So on Sunday morning, I had a race at 10 a.m. or whatever time it was during because there's different times for the Grand Prix. Most of them were, either 9 or 10 or whatever. Mostly 9 a.m. And then I got super into even the practice, the free practices and the quality and like all this stuff, right? So it gave me something to look forward to. And for someone that on the weekends, like Mondays through Fridays, I was working, right? So I had something to do, but the weekends were always really scary for me and it brought me a lot of anxiety because I didn't really have anything to do. And it was just a struggle. So Formula One really became my best friend. And through watching Formula One and through really being immersed in this, in the whole world for the entire length of the race, which is almost a year of them, going around and driving and going for the championship or the world, right? The constructors champion and then the drivers champion. I realized how Formula One is actually really similar to a lot of us, ironically enough, because I know some of us are like, how are we going to relate to these like millionaires? But we can, because yes, they're millionaires. Yes, they love what they do. But at the end of the day, it's still their job. They still have to show up and perform at an extremely high level. And they're looked at on a microscopic level. And if you're not a Formula One girly, I'll explain this in a really, really brief way. Formula One is a super, like, extremely advanced motorsport, but they use a lot of engineering and there's a lot of data points that are constantly analyzed to create a better performing car. So part of creating a better performing car is also the drivers have to, every driver has their own like things that they prefer in terms of cars, like wings and whatever, right? Not to get too technical, but there's always improvements, just like with any other sport, tennis, basketball, soccer, that you can make to your form and the way that you're performing. So these drivers are looked at a microscopic level because everything can be almost everything can be pinpointed to a data point. In basketball, you might look at playback videos of you and you're like, okay, my form, I can do a better job of my form there. I can do a better job at being a team player or my defense or whatnot, right? But in Formula One, everything is constantly analyzed through data. So they're even more analytical about things. And a lot of these drivers, it's a very cutthroat sport, meaning if you're not performing and you're not doing what you got to do, you're going to get replaced. Not all the time, but it's just kind of like the way it is because there's so much money and investments that goes into it, and you can have a really good car, but the driver might not be performing at the way that they have to perform, at the level they have to perform, so they're going to cut you. And the reason that I say we can relate to these guys is because they're under a lot of scrutiny, especially because they're constantly being compared to the other driver because there's 2 drivers per team. And if you're driving the exact same car and one is outperforming the other, they're going to talk about that. The reporters, the, other team members, like whatever, are going to say, well, why are you 40, 50, 60 points behind your teammate who also has the same car and the same specs? Most of the time they have the same car, same specs, everything, right? So when I really got more into the sport, I realized how anxiety inducing that also is. And for example, yesterday, Charles Leclerc, won the Monaco Grand Prix, which is his home race, and he hadn't won in Monaco since he's been driving in F1, and he also won with Ferrari, which is the Italian team. And it was very emotional to see him win because he's been trying so hard, and there's been things that have gotten in the way from him in that pole position, whether that's his own struggles as a driver or the team fucked up and the team had to do better at other areas. It was so great to see him win. I think it was like he's done 100 and something races and he just got pole in Monaco. And then in comparison, you can talk about Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc raced together in go-karting back in the day, but their backgrounds are also really differently, you know, and that's also an important part of life. So Max Verstappen, his dad was a Formula One driver and has a shit ton of money, and Charles Leclerc doesn't come from a family with a lot of money, so he had his own disadvantages. I don't know too much into depth about their childhood, but let's assume that because Max's dad had a ton of more money and a ton of more resources because he just knew more people in the industry, he was able to get the best go-kart, the best the best people to train him, the best performance, like all of these things, right? While Charles may have the same skills and be just as great and amazing as Max, but has had different challenges that have been presented to him in his life, right? And they're both in different teams too. So Max is driving for Red Bull, which has one of the most dominating cars that we've seen in Formula One history. And then, you know, Charles is in Ferrari, who has been struggling and is slowly getting better and improving. But it's hard not to compare yourself to someone that started at the same point as you are, and now they're outperforming and doing so well. So to see him win was very emotional for a lot of people. Obviously the Italians, the Ferrari, the teams, the drivers, but as a fan and just as a person who's also struggling to find that thing and just trying many different things, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Emotional, but it's also made me feel he's relatable. I can relate to his struggles and trying so many different things and not getting to that final end goal, which is getting pole position, and just keeping on trying and waking up every day or doing every race and just trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. And I think a lot of us can relate to that story of we might not succeed for months or years, but if you keep trying and you keep improving and you keep giving it your all, ultimately it's going to get you somewhere, right? And the best example I can visually do this for my visual learners like myself is if you walk every day and you tell yourself, I'm going to walk every day for 30 minutes, every single day, or almost every day, right? Let's say 5 times a week. If I'm going to walk 5 times a week for one entire year, you might not see results on a day-to-day level or a week-to-week or month-to-month, but I promise you, let's say you take a picture January 1st of 2024 and then you take a picture January 1st of 2025, you will see a difference. But alongside that, it's not just saying, okay, I'm going to go on a walk 5 times a week. You have to change other things in your lifestyle, whether that's your eating habits or, you know, other areas of your life that you can improve, journaling, meditating, other stuff, right?
Aquí tienes una de las estaciones más escuchadas,
oh my
Relaxing
God.
Piano Radio en Amazon Music.
Alexa, stop. That was scary. Maybe it's life telling me, yes, keep doing it. We're going to take that as a manifestation to all my manifestation girlies. Guys, that was a sign from the universe. I did not say the device's name, and it's constantly listening. I need to unplug that because it's actually freaky. It's happened multiple times, and yeah, Big Ben is real. But anyways, that's not the point of this video. This podcast. So what I've realized through depression and anxiety and other areas of my life is it's challenging, it's hard, and you have to work hard every day at it. And things are just not magically going to get better just because you wake up one morning and say, today I'm not going to be depressed. And that's it. Your depression's gone. It doesn't work like that. Well, I would love for it to work like that. Unfortunately, it doesn't. And it's something that I've had to come to terms with and that I've had to accept. And that's why seeing Formula One for me is so cool, because I can relate to them in certain areas of my life. And it shows me that life is not always perfect and things are not always going to go your way. And if you keep showing up and you keep trying and you keep improving and you keep working at it, something's going to stick, right? Something is going to stick. So as I'm starting this podcast and really taking YouTube seriously, I've been taking YouTube seriously for 2 months now. It has been so cool to see how things do work. And if I keep being consistent and keep being myself, it's going to pan out somewhere and it's going to stick. And something I really just want to get better at is building more of that community where we chat in the comments, where you ask me questions, where it feels like we're friends, because that's what I want the space that I built in this little side of the universe to be. It's a very welcoming and heartwarming space. And I am trying really hard to also get better and improve myself at being a better version of me and being my most authentic self that I can be. And that's also going to shift and change as I evolve as a human being. But it's been a very difficult couple of months, honestly. I think 2 months of many ups and downs, where if you were to look at my videos, you wouldn't really see that. But it's ironic because as I'm looking back at certain clips or certain pictures or whatnot, I can remember exactly what I was feeling in that video or that picture, but no one else would know unless I share it. So don't compare your journey or your life or where you are to someone else's journey in life, because we are all in different journeys. And that's really cool, because if we weren't, we would all be copy and pastes of each other and life would be really, 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 really boring. And if you are really passionate about doing something, don't give up on it. Keep going. And honestly, I'm not doing this because of the numbers or the money. I'm genuinely enjoying myself so much with making videos and now the podcasts. It feels so genuine and authentic to me. And I love that I'm documenting these little pieces of my life that I can then look back on and reflect on and think about and listen to when I'm 30, 40, or 50. And even my kids can see and watch these videos or hear the podcast. And also I can visually see my growth and how I've evolved in the way that I think about things or the way that I handle situations. Because healing is not a linear journey, and you're not magically going to just heal everything. And then when you heal one thing, you're going to realize that there's other things for you to heal and other things for you to do better or be better at. So I hope that this sort of was a reflection episode for a lot of us to not give up on things that we feel passionate about because we're scared of what other people are going to say or our own fears and judgments. If it makes you happy, it doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. And if it makes you excited and helps you wake up that morning, then that's the whole reason that you need to be doing something. Like for me, making my YouTube videos in these past 2 months when I've been the most depressed has honestly been the greatest thing that has happened to me, because it has given me the motivation to not cry all the time and not be in my house all the time and not be depressed, and to want to be better, because I'm seeing myself on videos, right? And I'm seeing how I look and how that's affecting me, or how areas of improvements that I can do. So it's been really cool to have something that makes me excited to get up that morning. And it's not social media, and it's not scrolling, and it's not seeing other people live their lives or their dreams. It's me kind of taking a hold of my life and my dreams and doing the shit I say I'm going to do. And it's been cool to also see that I am holding myself accountable to these things, whether the numbers are there or not. And whether my life is aesthetically pleasing or not, I'm doing it. So I'm excited to see where things go and what life looks like a year from now, because I am sticking to this. I'm giving myself an entire year of actually sticking to this and of doing it. And one of the things that I just really, really, really want to improve in the next couple of weeks here is building that community and building that conversation with people and having more of an interactive community aspect. And I don't know how to do that at the moment, and that's something I'm struggling with in terms of the YouTube and podcast space. But I'm gonna improve, and I'm gonna do stuff. I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna be better, and maybe it's about actually making genuine content that I'm not constantly thinking, is this short gonna get a good amount of views, or is it gonna stay stuck at 100 or 400, and how is that gonna make me feel? I would much rather have a 400 view shorts, but have people interacting and commenting with me, or just me helping them, right? Than a video that blows up and I have no interaction with these people. So I guess as I'm thinking out loud, it all comes down to my whole core belief is be more of yourself, be more like me, be more authentic, be more real, and don't stress too much about what people are going to say about something if it's not hurting someone else's feeling. If you're not being mean towards someone else or something else, then, and if it comes from your heart, and if you think it's going to help someone, say it, do it. So I don't know if that advice also helps someone else out there, but if it does, let me know. But yeah, thank you for listening to this random podcast episode. It was actually very helpful and nice to chat with you all. And this was fun. So I think I might stick to some more of this. I still want to do some video ones, but I like this, me laying on my bed, or my mom's bed, and just letting my mind run wild and letting you guys into my ADHD brain. So anyways, enjoy the rest of your week, and I hope you guys tune in for the next one and whatever that's going to look like, because I'm sure it's going to be another random one. But this was really fun, and I really, really enjoyed you guys taking the time to listen to this podcast episode. Let me know what your thoughts are, because as you know, I'm working hard on building that community. So I would love to chat with you. I love chatting. I'm a yapper and I love chatting. So let's chat. But thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week. Adios. Bye.